was the smartest person in the room. I knew everything. The amount of information and just common sense that I had in this head was, I was surprised that, man, why do I even need to talk to anybody else? I got this all figured out. And then, like almost all of us go through in their lives, and I do mean almost all of us, I realized that I did not know everything. I was definitely not the smartest person in the room, and I had a lot to learn. It has to do with the experience that so many of the mentors that I've had over the years and leaders have shared with me. It's just been phenomenal. Once I got my own ego and got humble about it, got humbled in many different ways, life just got better. And the big issue that I've been running into with my clients right now is that they've started off in their businesses where they knew everything, they got it all figured out, and then they get to this point where they're like, oh crap, I don't understand some of these things, I'm not sure what's going on, and they need help. And it's the same thing for their employees. And what they're running into is this experience gap. There's information that they need to bring into their businesses that they don't have locally. They're not sure how to do it. And it's also finding the right mix. And for employees, this is more on your side as well too, understanding the experience gap that exists in your current business and also in the businesses that you're looking to apply to, right? You want to go work at. It's super important, because if you don't know that, you don't know how to properly align yourself and market yourself for that business and get into a place where you'll be successful. And what ends up happening is, because businesses don't understand the experience that they need, they don't write the right job ads or the right job descriptions. They build the wrong job ads, and they hire people who are not the right fit for those positions because they didn't understand what they needed in order to be successful, right? And that's really what we're going to be talking about here today. There's an article from Deloitte Insights where they are covering their 2025 most recent experience gap survey that they did out there. They got some information. We're not going to cover the whole thing. Link is going to be in the description. We'll be checking that out. But it's something I'm going to send to my clients because we spend an awful lot of time talking about job descriptions. We do. And it's super important, because if you don't understand really what the job is, it's very difficult to hire the right people for it. And that's where you get people frustrated and not happy where they're at. So again, for those who don't know, I'm a business coach. I work out of West Michigan, around the country. I come here live pretty consistently every single day, and I hope to earn your subscription. So let's get into this here. Now, again, links in the description. Be sure to go check that out. As always, this is just one of those things that I do where we cover the stuff, but man, these folks that they have and these consultants, what they give out, I'm totally amazed at the amount of information they give out, and I'm so thankful for it, because this is really good survey they did here. Again, closing the experience gap. The goal for you as an employee and also for a business owner is to understand exactly what the gap is, and you have to be able to measure from your current state to where you need to be. And what I find with most of my clients when I start working with them is they don't know either of these two. They just kind of got somebody there, and that's it. All right. So here's a couple things I want to start with here. When we talk about human capability, we're just going to look at the charts here. There's a lot of words in this thing, but we're just going to look at some of the charts today because they lead to some good discussion. Now, prioritizing human capability ranks high in importance, but organizations are just beginning to understand the relationship to experience. There's a difference between skill set and experience. And you can know how to swing a hammer, but it's the experience of the timing and technique of how to use that hammer, the right hammer, and everything else that goes along with that. That is what really what you pay for when you're hiring someone with seniority, that they have the relevant experience. And we're going to talk about that at length too, right? You can have somebody that's worked in IT for 15 years, right? You want to bring them in to start working with let's say with your AI system that you've purchased, right? In order to start building out some AI agents or whatever that's going to look like. If they don't have relevant experience in writing prompts, all of that IT experience doesn't matter, right? So that's what I'm saying. They're experienced within technology, but they don't have relevant experience on the new technology, okay? And that's really what I want to get at here. So, and you'll see this here where they've got responses to say bridging the experience gap is important. They say about half of workers say it's important. Managers have a lower percentage, and then 46% is even lower than that for the executives, say that it's bridging the experience gap is important. But respondents that say human capabilities are important, all of a sudden, 75% of workers, 71% of managers, and 76% of executives say Well, yeah, human capabilities are important. And that's what we're talking about. There's a gap. There's a marked difference between what people think they need, what they think they need as far as experience for work, and how folks value it. And that's really the crux of this issue. It's, put it this way: what these two different bar graphs are showing is that we don't realize we have a problem. That's what that's saying right there. And until you realize that there's actually a problem, it doesn't matter how much you think, if we ever have that problem, we should fix it. You need to realize you have that problem, okay? And that's where I spent a lot of time with. Now, this was a great graph here that I wanted to spend time on. And if you've never seen one of these before, it's the difference here between understanding where you're going to spend your time. And if there's one thing you take away from this talk today, this video, is going to be understanding the difference between these two. And these are the tensions that exist between a workplace, right? To be able to bridge an experience gap. So let's run down them here. We'll run through quickly here, but we'll talk about them. There's augmentation and automation, right? It's the tension between the two. How much of AI or new technology should be automating your work, and how much of it, i.e. removing human capital, and how much should be augmenting the human capital? And those differences are important to know and really have that detailed out, right? Then you've got the next piece, which is standardization versus personalization. I want you to work within this box, but within this box, you can make it as personal as you'd like. You just can't make it personal outside of this box. But to do that, you have to understand what the box is, right? Stability versus agility. And this comes from, now if you're a managers, I'm looking directly at you right now, managers. Y'all want stability. You just want to be able to say, if I do X, we're going to get Y, then we'll get Z, like bop, bop, bop down the line. Whereas a lot of your clients and your employees, they also would like to have a level of agility in there as well too, which is we'll get X and Y, and then we can maybe land on Z plus or Z minus. It's okay. Figure it out. It's the best way forward, right? So that balance between stability and agility. Again, output versus outcome. This is manager versus leader, right? Managers are looking for, they understand what the output's going to be. Leaders are just saying, I got it, but we want to get to the outcome. The outcome is actually more important than anything. Did we win? Did we win the day? Did we win the week? Did we win the month, etc.? The next is going to be the difference between control and empowerment, right? These are the experience gaps that you're going to get. You have to find the balance between these. This is the idea: control and empowerment. You can only do it this one way and that's it, or empower, like, yo, you know where we got to get to for an outcome. So let's get us there within the box, right? All these different things there. It's that balance between. And the last one's going to be predictability and potential. Again, so the way I look at this, when you're looking at this chart here, what I want you to think is at the bottom, these are all the things that managers and managers want. They want automation. They want standardization. They want stability, output control, and predictability. This is what they want. Again, automation means less people to have to deal with. This is managers' dreams. They come in, push a button, and all these things happen. And they know what's going to happen. And they can measure it. And then you have on the top here is going to be where leaders thrive, which is in the augmentation, personalization, agility, outcome, empowerment, and potential. So you have to figure out, as a business owner, where you at between these and what works best for your given system. What works best in that job, particularly. And there's definitely instances where you want to have more of the freedom, which would be at the top part of this, than at the bottom, and vice versa. Okay, just understanding that. Now here's a big piece of what is experience really, and this is a good question here. We're going to read this for a second. Is what do we mean when we talk about experience? Most people think of how much time is spent executing directly relevant tasks, but time spent is a proxy and a potentially poor one for what leaders need from workers. What leaders really need from experience in today's environment is an expanded definition. I really like this definition of what experience means, and take time, write this down. The ability for workers to apply skills, knowledge, and human capabilities and context under real world conditions and external constraints to create outcomes. That's a lot of management speak, but at the end of the day, what we're looking for is when we say experience, we want a problem to come up, to exist, to bubble up, boop, that we have the person, if they have experience, can look at that and understand the context and texture of what the issue is and navigate to a solution that is in line with the outcomes, right? That can get to a solution that is what would be management and leadership would want. That's what we're talking about here. Problem comes up, person can handle it. Like, that's the bottom line. But you have to be able to articulate that in order to hire folks for that. Like, that's the issue we're coming into here, folks. Especially in this new environment, it is very, very difficult to find something to identify exactly what these means and to be able to test for it on your hiring for this stuff. So here we go. Traditional view of experience, number of years directly related experience as a proxy, as we were saying. What leaders really mean and need by experience. So what the people are available to do with technical and functional skills in a real world context. Can they deliver on what we need them to do? All right. Last one here we're going to get at here is who's responsible for building experience? And what they've got the lines back and forth here. And this is what I love about this. Executives think, and again, so which of the following entities do you believe is most responsible for ensuring that the workforce has skills and experience? All right. This is really interesting here. So executives think corporations have the most responsibility to develop stuff. Workers think people have the responsibility to train themselves. Interesting change, right? So executives and workers, they have two different views on that. Right, and that's the priority where they're looking. So people think that, hey, we own our own responsibility for our training. I think that's great. I really think that's fantastic, and you can see that juxtaposition there between the two. Then it goes straight there. The schools think the schools should do it. Governments think government should do it, and these other work councils think that they should do it. I think it's pretty interesting. So again, if you've take a time, go look through this article here. You've got more than enough opportunity to go through and check this out yourself. The big thing I would just want to bring to everyone's attention here, to bring this around, and what I'm talking to my clients about with this, is that you have to fully understand exactly what that job position needs, what it needs to accomplish, and that is going to tell you the level, the depth, and the breadth of the experience that you need to hire for. Like, that is the number one thing you need to be going after. And if you don't understand what that job is supposed to deliver, who it's supposed to deliver to, and what time, what time frame, and to what level, it's very difficult for you to understand who to have in that position. So one of the things that so what I would recommend for everybody watching this here, employees, this goes for you as well. You need to know who the customer is that is gonna be the recipient of your work, either internal or external. And what do they need, and how do they need that, whatever is your work is that produces, right? What does that widget need to look like, in what time frame, etc. And those are those pain points and the deliverables that they're asking for. And I work with my clients on this. I know it's a kind of chewy, it's a longer discussion, but here's the biggest problem there, employers. You guys don't understand what you need these jobs to do. You keep falling back on what yesterday's jobs were and think that it's going to work for today. And that could not be more wrong. And I would highly recommend every single one of you, every single employer, everything is supervisor, manager, owner, operator, look at your job descriptions, look at the work, but before you do that, look at the work that's actually being done. Talk to your folks and say, what are you actually doing? Because I think you're going to be surprised at how much work gets done that is not in line with the job descriptions that you wrote 5 years ago for this position, okay? So, again, make sure you go check out the article that we connected with today. It's always, always want to give them love. And if you're curious about how I help businesses grow faster than they ever thought possible, be sure to check out summitbusinessguides.com. Take care.